Tonight, he began the game with a 52-yard touchdown reception, picks up the first here.
Yeah, Isaac Bruce has been a little quiet too, and it seems like Mike Martz is a little conservative tonight in his play calling, but I don't think it's that he's worrying about passing. I think he's worried about his pass protection, you know, and he wonders if that can hold up. If he doesn't have some kind of balance, he's going to really have trouble with that guy right there, Greg Spires.
A lot of pressure on Bulger tonight. Spires has 2 of the 3 Buck sacks. First down from the 34-yard line. And Bulger goes down, so that didn't fool anybody. Fake toss, fake draw, and Simeon Rice gets in there for the sack. His second of the season.
You know, and this is one of the better matchups. Orlando Pace here, blocking Simeon Rice right here. But you can see he gets that jump start, and he doesn't expect Simeon Rice to take him on squarely. Simeon Rice takes him, he expects him to take his outside shoulder. He goes right square into him, and after he goes square into him, he takes the inside.
Only the second sack of the year for a guy who's normally in double figures. Bulger turns to the outside and hits Jackson. He makes the catch and taken down at the 30-yard line by Ian Gold.
As I was saying earlier, that this is a very crisp tackling game. You know, I've been a little critical of the tackling in this league. I thought it's gone down, and in most games it has. But I'll tell you, in this game, the tackling on both sides has been very good.
Very few guys have stepped out of contact. Third down and 14. Setting up Steven Jackson underneath, and a big third down play. All the way to the Tampa Bay 45-yard line.
I said earlier that I think Mike Martz is really worried about his pass protection, so he gets a third down. Instead of throwing the ball down the field, he goes to a screen pass. You know, invite them to rush, get them to rush, and then just get your back, get him lost up there, get him out there behind the guard, get a block right there, and pick up a first down. Take advantage. If they're going to rush you, if they're going to put pressure on, take advantage with the screen play.
Third and 14, and they pick up 28. .42-yard line. Here goes Jackson to the left side. That #1 draft choice to the 39-yard line. Remember when they drafted Trunk Candidate a few years ago, Arizona running back, and that didn't work out. But you look at a guy like Jackson, who's a lot different than Candidate, and clearly Jackson's the guy at some point you would think who will supplant Marshall Faulk.
Yeah, but he's not going to be what Marshall Faulk was. I mean, Marshall Faulk was a guy that you could play him as a running back, you could play him as a slot receiver, as a wide receiver. You could do so many things with him that it really made your offense a very versatile offense. And Steven Jackson is just going to be a running back.
Yep. And where are you going to find the next Marshall Faulk?
Second, he's a 245-pound running back.
Yep. Faulk to the 36-yard line. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Steven Jackson led the Pac-10 in scoring, rushing, and all-purpose yards last year, and he expected to be drafted anywhere from 6 to 15. He was highly regarded as the best running back in April's draft. When he fell, he said he fell into a state of shock as well. When he finally got picked at number 24, he wondered why the Rams, with Marshall Faulk, would even want him. But Al and Johnny told me his feeling about this has completely changed. He said, now I wake up every day thinking I could be the guy to replace Marshall Faulk someday.
And play in this offense, too, with a guy like Mike Martz as your coach. Third down and 4. Going deep and caught for the touchdown. Torrey, big play Holt.
Mark Bulger never looks different, does he? Whatever he does, a sack, a fumble, an interception, or a touchdown, he looks the same. They get a little conservative, but you know it's only going to last a while. They get Torrey Holt out there. He starts in the inside. Remember I said he's the best corner route runner in football? That was what he started. He started into the post, then back to the corner, and then straightened it up. He's the only guy in the NFL that runs that pattern.
He had Mario Edwards covering him initially. Phillips came over and couldn't help out at the end, and Jeff Wilkins will try to make it a 7-point game. 36-yard touchdown pass on a 3rd and 4. So they convert on the 3rd and 14. They get a touchdown on the 3rd and 4. And right now the Rams are up 28-21.
هل تريدون معرفة كل شيء عن واحد من أفضل اللاعبين المصريين؟ هل تحبون كرة القدم المثيرة؟ هل تحبون معرفة المزيد عن ناديه الجديد وحياته في هولندا؟ فلا تفوتوا إذن مشاهدة مغامرة غالي كل جمعة بعد جمعة فقط على الرياضية.
What does this thing do?
Well, it's called the internet, and it's completely revolutionized the way we live and access vital information. Have a look at this.
الآن يمكنكم طلب أحدث أفلام تي في ماكس على الإنترنت. قوموا بزيارة موقع أوربت واذهبوا إلى صفحة تي في ماكس الرئيسية.
It's amazing.
تي في ماكس، صالة عرضكم المنزلية.
هل تعاني من بطء الإنترنت؟ إذن فاستعد لسرعة جديدة تتجاوز حدود ما تخيلته ممكنا. أوربت ساتنت، إنترنت ثنائي الاتجاه عبر القمر الصناعي، توفر لك إنترنت مباشر وغير محدود، أسرع ب10 20 30 إلى 50 مرة من الإنترنت العادي حسب رغبتك. لا حاجة لخط أو لدفع فاتورة الهاتف، وبأسعار منافسة، لاستخدام غير محدود 24 ساعة في اليوم 7 أيام في الأسبوع مع دعم تقني على مدار الساعة. أوربت ساتنت، سرعة لا تصدق.
للمزيد من المعلومات اتصلوا بوكيل أوربت المحلي أو زوروا موقع الإنترنت www.orbitsatnet.com.
Join ESPN for coverage of the 2004-2005 UEFA Champions League season. Juventus on Tuesday will batter Bayern Munich in a match day 3 matchup. See it here on ESPN.
Rams 2 big 3rd down conversions. Bolger on that drive. Perfect. 4 of 4. The Rams are up by 7 at home. Jeff Wilkins. Pulled in 2-yard line. Torrey Cox. 23-yard line. So 10:39 remaining in the 4th quarter as the Rams try to move into undisputed possession of first place in the NFC West. Mark Bolger throwing the touchdown to put them up by 7.
بشرى سارة لمشتركي أوربت. وأخيرا أوربت ساتنت على القمر الصناعي جابت لك الحل لمشاكل الإنترنت. مثلا شوفوا ماجد زهقان ينتظر الدايل أب، لكن أحمد يدخل على الإنترنت بدون دايل أب. توه ماجد دخل على الإنترنت والحين ينتظر الموقع يفتح. بس أحمد يبحث عن ملفات ومعلومات ويسمع موسيقى عقب ما نزلها بثواني. يا سلام، الإنترنت عنده أسرع من العادي ب10 ب20 إلى 50 مرة حسب رغبتك. في اللحظة اللي ماجد دخل الموقع أخوه رفع سماعة الهاتف وخط الإنترنت انقطع. بس أحمد أخوه على التليفون، وأحمد الحين يتصفح الإنترنت لأنه ما يحتاج خط تليفون. مسكين ماجد الحين استلم فاتورة الهاتف ثقيلة، بس أحمد مستانس لأنه ما يدفع فاتورة الهاتف والإنترنت حقه شغال 24 ساعة. ماجد خلاص ما يقدر يتحمل، لكن أحمد عنده الحل. للمزيد من المعلومات اتصلوا بوكيل أوربت المحلي أو زوروا موقعنا orbitsatnet.com.
Six catches for 124 yards. Played his college ball at North Carolina State.
Here's his first one. It's a post pattern, and you see that speed. He just gets upon that safety so quickly that he's by him. Now here's his second one that is kind of a post here, back to the corner, and then straight up. I don't know of any other receiver in the NFL that runs that pattern, and Torrey Holt has it perfected.
You know, it's like a snake pattern. I mean, you wiggle your way downfield.
Right, and defensive backs will react to every angle as you wiggle.
From the 23-yard line, Pittman. And you're right, John. You know, when you watch games as we do from the 50-yard line and you look at it live, the Rams just look different. Their receivers just run patterns that you don't see any other team run.
You know, and they do that in practice too. Everything is, as Mike Martz says, fast and furious, and it's not only on game time. You know, he just doesn't say, okay, let's get fast and furious now. They're fast and furious every day in practice, and it takes a while to be in the system to learn how to practice that way.
From the 36, Charles Lee. Since 2000, a year after the Rams won the Super Bowl, big plays, 20 or more yards, and you can see 1-2 in the league are the two Ram wideouts. Even more receptions of 20 or more yards than Randy Moss.
Well, when you can run a post and a corner up like Torrey Holt, you're going to have the most reception. Randy Moss does it with speed.
First and 10, 47-yard line. Go against Tampa.
False start, offense number 67. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Kenyatta Walker, right tackle.
You know, you look at a defensive end like Leonard Little, and you think the tackles they make, the hurries they make, the sacks they make, but they also make 5-yard plays like that. You know, that tackle that's on him is so anxious. You know, he has to get back. He has to, he can't get beat right off the ball, so he'll move a little early. And that's a 5 yards that should go to Leonard Little.
Scare you into a penalty. We see a little two-handed shovel to Mike Pittman. Brian just looking to get rid of the ball. Back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be second down and 15.
You know, Brian Griese did something there that his dad used to do, is change the snap count. You know, after he gets some pressure or someone jumps, he gives him the first sound. I mean, he gets up there and goes on the first sound. His dad, Bob, would mix up the snap count better than anyone that I ever coached against.
And showed blitz, backed off. Griese throws, and that is caught. Nice grab and enough for the first down as it is taken in by Michael Clayton. Again, the #1 pick out of LSU, and because of McCardell's holdout, Galloway's injury, Jervis's surgery, he's being force-fed, and he looks like a real keeper.
And you see that cover 2 again. He's trying to get in that hole. Once he gets beyond that corner, he just settles down before that safety gets over. That was a big part of their game plan. They wanted to hit that area against the Rams cover 2.
17-yard gain. Clayton has now caught 6 for 104 yards. Allstott. Inside the 35. Ball is loose, but the whistle had blown. He came down. He was contacted. The whistle had blown. He was tackled by DeJuan Gross. And Allstott's slow and rising.
Well, again, Allstott, for the second time, he didn't get down. I mean, Allstott is one of those guys that runs so well behind his shoulder pads. That's the second time, instead of going down and getting behind his shoulder pads, watch, he goes up in the air. Allstott is not a guy that should be doing a lot of leaping.
Missed those 12 games last year because of the neck injury sustained in that Indy game on Monday night. Second and 3. Clayton to the 21-yard line. Michael Clayton shares something in common with Jerry Rice. a birthday. The only two active receivers born on October 13th, 20 years apart. And it might be newsworthy tonight in particular because this is kind of a coming out party in a way for Clayton. And the word we're getting now from Oakland is that Jerry Rice is about to get traded for a conditional pick to Seattle. Because from what we hear, he was saying goodbye to some of his teammates at practice today.
I saw his agent today at the hotel, and he thought that he was going to go to Seattle.
Meanwhile, Greasy's going to go to the turf for a sack at the 30-yard line as the blitz was on, and down he went.
Neither one of these teams do a lot of blitzing, but if you're not going to blitz and then you're going to use it as a surprise, the time that you do it is right now. Once they start moving and they get in this area, you just bring something. You have to bring some pressure so you get the middle linebacker, you get the ends coming to the inside, the linebacker taking the outside, and he just pushed that whole right side of the pocket.
That was Eric Flowers who got to him first at his feet. Number 96, second down and 18 now from the 30. With under 6 to go. Blitz is on. Greasy able to escape. He almost lost the football and then just has to throw it away because he had Rich Cody chasing him. And as Cody was chasing him, he bobbled the ball, and it was all he could do to get it back into his grasp and fling it away.
Yeah, they overload on that blitz, and it's going to come from the left. You're going to see Cody right here. You see he starts back there, and he times it so they don't count him. So he comes free. I'll tell you, Brian Greasy did a pretty good job of getting away from Cody and throwing that ball away.
3rd and 18, 29-yard line. They rise as one in the dome. 3 down defensive linemen. 8 stay back. Greasy going deep. Intercepted in the end zone. We're trying to get it to Clayton, and Jeremetrius Butler picks it off.
Again, that was a 3-man rush, as you said. They were defending with 8, and Leonard Little in a 3-man rush got pressure on Brian Greasy.
Rams get it back at the 20, up by 7.
Welcome to a world where the students become the masters. A world where high achievement isn't just an expression. A world where the stars rise up in the sky. Welcome to the wonderful world of college football on Orbit ESPN.
على تي في ماكس خلال نوفمبر خذوا أسرع طريق إلى أحدث الإصدارات السينمائية من هوليوود مباشرة إلى صالة جلوسكم. أين تودون التوجه؟ The Last Samurai. اصحبوا توم كروز في رحلة إلى اليابان يكتشف فيها روح المقاتل في قلبه في هذا الفيلم الأسطوري الحصري Monster Man. تابعوا رحلة برية بريئة تتحول إلى كابوس ظلام ورعب. In the Cut قوموا برحلة في قلب امرأة تقودها الرغبة إلى طريق مرعب. بطولة الممثلة الرائعة والمتميزة ميغ راين. Looney Tunes back in action. انضموا إلى باجز باني وأصدقائه في رحلة مرحة في هذا الفيلم العائلي الرائع الذي نوفره لكم لأول مرة بالإنجليزية والعربية.
ما الذي قلته؟
خذوا أسرع طريق إلى أحدث الإصدارات السينمائية خلال نوفمبر على تي في ماكس صالة عرضكم المنزلية.
To chip on Leonard Little. You know, they're going to bring a back to help. The back's right there. Offside. He feels him, takes an inside, flushes Greasy out of the pocket, makes him throw off balance, and an interception. I mean, there's no way that your quarterback should be flushed out of the pocket against a 3-man line.
Rams begin this drive. Falk is the running back from the 20-yard line. Marshall up to the 22. When the Rams win the turnover battle, you can just about forget it, and they're winning it tonight. I mean, even when they're minus, they still have a real good chance to win. As we mentioned, they've been -3 twice this year and won. But since '99, when they won the Super Bowl, you have the advantage. They're undefeated, 30-0. If they wind up tied, they're still pretty terrific. And when they are on the minus side of that, normally your record is worse than 16-24.
Right, and because they are a run and gun and the way they play, they can still play when they get behind. Now, Tampa Bay, on the other hand, they have to get turnovers.
2nd and 7, and that is caught, and that is Curtis, and he gets forced out of bounds. So they go to the second group of receivers with Curtis and McDonald. Curtis, second year out of Utah State, caught a big touchdown pass against Seattle last week. That's 32 yards.
You know, we were talking to Mike Martz the other day, and he said one of the things he wants to do with Bulger is move the pocket. He does on that play, but watch how quick and fast Curtis is. I mean, that's one thing he likes about these young guys. They not only bring some talent to them, but they put more speed in the offense. But see how Mark Bulger's moving out here? That was one of the things that they want to start adding to this offense, where he's not always in the same spot in the pocket.
Falk. Behind Adam Timmerman. Adam Timmerman is a guy, you know, we've seen him on a lot of Monday night games. If he were a pitcher, he'd be in the Hall of Fame, because all he does is win. Remember, he was with the Packers for a lot of years. 6th season with St. Louis. His record would be as an individual. He's been in 146 games, and he's won 105 of them. And that's the best personal winning percentage for any player who's played in 100 games.
Right, and a guy from Cherokee, Iowa should have that record.
Yeah.
How many guys do you know that went to South Dakota?
Tom Brokaw? No, I know he's from South Dakota. Pat O'Brien.
I know one, an old-time football player, Pete Retzlaff.
Pete Retzlaff.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles. There it is. Mike Bartram, the long snapper, and Dorsey Levens, who spent a lot of those years in Green Bay, and William Henderson. So you take a look at that. The Timmerman, about half of his career in Green Bay, Levens and Henderson. It tells you a lot about the Packers.
That's a secret if you want to win a lot of games, be a Green Bay player. Or the other thing is be a Green Bay coach.
Right.
I mean, just look at all the coaches in the league right now. In fact, John Gruden being one of them, that at one time coached for the Green Bay Packers.
We're under Mike Holmgren. Timeout taken by the Rams. They're second. They're up by 7.
As the race towards the grand finale in Houston heats up, a new chapter in tennis history is being written in Spain, one of the toughest stops on the ATP Tour. So don't miss the ATP Masters Series from Madrid, now airing live on Orbit ESPN.
كان شرطه أن من لا ينجب يؤول ملكه إلى أبناء أخيه.
لن يكون لك ولد إلا مني يا شهريار.
إنما يحكمها من هو قادر على الحكم.
يقضي السلطان عمره بين الجواري حتى يظن أنه يمتلك كل النساء ولا واحدة تملك نفسها.
ما زلت تشك؟
بكل امرأة.
إلى أين يأخذوني يا بدون؟
اخرجوا هذه المرأة من هنا واخرجوها من أمامي.
مسلسل شهرزاد كل يوم في 7:30 مساء بتوقيت جرينتش على قناة الصفوة. هي امرأة مطلقة.
من غير أي مقدمات أنا بحبك وما أقدرش أتخيل الحياة من غيرك.
الحب ده مش من حقي.
وهو رجل متزوج.
شرات أنا بحبك.
بحس بيك حتى وأنا بحاول أنساك.
ودون إرادتهما نشأ الحب بينهما. العاشقان في عرض أول الجمعة في الأوقات التالية على قناة سينما 1.
أفلام العرض الأول برعاية سانيتا، مناشف في علبة من نابكو.
The Gateway Arch. Quarterback comparison tonight. Each with a rating of 97.1. But Bulger with those 2 long strikes to Torrey Holt that have kind of bookended the scoring at this point.
Brian Greasy's thinking here that they have to get the ball back. You know, if you're a good defense, and Tampa Bay is a good defense, now is the time you have to make good defensive plays.
Right here, big play, 3rd down and 7, 42-yard line. It's Isaac Bruce who had lined up in the backfield. And a little razzle-dazzle here with Kevin Curtis coming around the end and reaching and apparently getting the first down. So Mike Martz earlier runs 4 times on 1st and goal. Now on a vital play, 3rd and 7, to the back of the playbook, a little trickery, and they pick up the first.
You want to see who gets a block? Watch Mark Bulger, number 10, the quarterback here. That's a reverse. It's a flip. Bulger gets a block right there. Right there. Now, there aren't a lot of quarterbacks that would even get out in front of him. It's not a great block, but I'll tell you, it is one that helped get the first down. Watch him. He's going to come right there, well, right someplace there, and make a block to free Curtis.
So they run that play after they line Bruce up to give him a different look. They had Bruce in the backfield. Now it's 1st and 10. And this is Jackson fighting for 4. And Tampa Bay only has 1 timeout plus the 2-minute warning, so they can stop it twice. And they'll take their final timeout right here. Rams already within field goal range with 2:25 to go and up by 7.
أجمل اللحظات الرياضية خلال نوفمبر على أوربت. الدوري السعودي له جاذبية قوية بين جميع عشاق كرة القدم. دوري كرة القدم الأمريكية يزداد منافسة مباراة بعد أخرى. حماس الدوري الهولندي لا يعرف الراحة. أفضل 8 لاعبي تنس يلتقون في الدور النهائي لبطولة الماسترز في هيوستن. الدوري الفرنسي يتجلى في أروع صوره. منتخبات أمريكا الجنوبية تتابع سعيها وراء حجز بطاقتها إلى كأس العالم 2006. نوفمبر على أوربت، عالم من الرياضة.
3, 2, 1 spin it back. إنه أحدث وأسرع برنامج مسابقات عرفتموه. إنه يجعل المتسابقين يشعرون كما لم يفعلوا من قبل، والتسوق أكثر متعة وتسلية. فلا تتوقفوا قبل أن تصرفوا جميع النقود. مع spin it fast الخميس والجمعة في 10:30 مساء بدوقة الرياض على هوليوود.
What does this thing do?
Well, it's called the internet, and it's completely revolutionized the way we live and access vital information. Have a look at this.
Now you can order the latest TV Max releases online. Just visit the Orbit website and go to the TV Max homepage.
It's amazing.
TV Max, your home movie theater.
As we said earlier, had they lost to Seattle, he would have been 2.5 games behind them. Instead, that miracle win last week, then Seattle loses to New England. If the Rams win tonight, they're in first place. A half game ahead of Seattle, having played 1 more game because Seattle's already had its bye. And for Tampa, a really critical early season game. They're in a division where there's only 1 winning team, and that's Atlanta at 5-1. And if they go down here, they'll be 1-5, and Carolina's 1-4. New Orleans is 2-4. Atlanta already has a 3-game lead before the end of October in the NFC South. 2nd down and 6 now from the 32-yard line. Jackson again, and they're out of timeout, so the clock will stop at the 2-minute warning. Spires makes the tackle. And it will be up to the Tampa Bay Bucks to stop the Rams and hope they don't make a field goal, because if they make a first down on the next play, they can run out the clock, can the Rams.
You know, one thing, this guy's had a heck of a night. Greg Spires here, both pass rushing, playing the run, just doing everything. He's given everything he's had on this. And I'll tell you, there are some teams that are 1-4, 1-5, and they look like 1-4, 1-5 teams. Tampa Bay doesn't.
But that's what they're going to be in a couple of minutes, unless they can stop the Rams, turn it around, and somehow get into the end zone and then go to overtime. 28-21 St. Louis.
No equipment needed. Only your hands and your heart. And according to the outcome, you will live 3 minutes of hell or 3 minutes of glory. Friday Night Fights on ESPN.
Sit
simply the finest football on the planet. ESPN continues full-day coverage of the UEFA Champions League all the way through the championship game in May. ESPN, the home of the UEFA Champions League.
1 week from tonight, Monday Night Football on ESPN. The Denver Broncos go on the road to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. We'll check in and see how Carson Palmer's doing at the helm of Cincinnati. For now, though, back to Monday Night Football in St. Louis, where the Rams lead at the 2-minute warning.
Folgers had a good night. Well, you know, he's had better nights, but still very effective. There's Adam Marcelletta, whose back has been bothering him. In fact, earlier this week, he was on the injury list.
Right, he didn't start the last 2 games. And tonight he started, played the whole game, played part of it as a weak side linebacker tonight.
Yes, the Rams are short in that department. Rams next week will go to Miami before their bye week. And Tampa Bay goes home to meet the Chicago Bears.
Some would say they have 2 byes in a row.
Yes, some would say that. 3rd down and 7 from the 32-yard line. And they're going to run it. They're going to run a draw. They're going to run it to Jackson, but they stop him. Now the question is, at the 27-yard line, 4th down, they're going to bring in Wilkins. And it's going to come down to whether Wilkins makes or misses. Dwight Smith makes the tackle. Wilkins with that sprained left ankle. Take all the time they can off the clock here. He's attempted 1 field goal tonight, and that was a 56-yarder that was well short.
You know, we talked earlier when he, was trying that 56-yarder that it could very well be a fake. This one here could also very well be a fake.
They're going to take a timeout just before the clock expires.
He has an injured plant foot, and in fact, I saw him tape him twice tonight. They taped him, then they retaped him, then they taped him again to get that left ankle or foot straightened out.
Well, that's the only reason. Well, I think if they're going to fake it, I would think Dane Looker would throw it. If he does have that sprained ankle, and there it was being taped in the first quarter, it's going to be a little dangerous to have a guy who's not 100% running a trick play with a 7-point lead at the end of the game.
I think if it was a trick play, I think he would just throw it.
The field goal attempt will be 43 or 44 yards.
But then the thing about kicking it is you ice it here. I mean, that if you miss or you don't get it, then it's still a 1-score game. If you kick the field goal and make it, then you make it a 2-score game with a minute left and no timeout.
44-yard attempt. And the kick is wide right. He missed it. He pushed it. And the Bucs are still alive.
The snap is pretty good. The hold is pretty good. And it's just wide right.
Just wide right. And so Tampa Bay, they get the ball at the 34-yard line. They have to go 66 yards in 69 seconds and no timeouts.
You know, John Gruden was saying last night that Brian Griese is the smartest player that he's ever known, and this is where smart players do things well.
Griese starts underneath Pittman, 40-yard line. Again, without a timeout, they've got to rush to the line about 3 yards shy of the first down.
You can't spike it here because you didn't get. Oh yeah, he did spike it there. Usually you like to get a first down and spike it on first down. Now you're gonna be 3rd down. But again, he had to get that clock stopped.
And he does with 53 seconds. The ball at the 39-yard line. It's 3rd down and 5.
And that's the advantage of the coach being able to talk to the quarterback. He can really call the plays even in this situation for the quarterback.
Again, that three-man rush deep over the middle, and it's incomplete. Tommy Polley was covering on the play, may have gotten a hand on it, intended for the tight end, Ken Dilger, and so the Bucs are down to 4th down and 5 now.
Both of these guys like to get their linebackers deep, run them deep down the middle. Here's Tommy Polley. You think the tight end is in that post area. You don't expect the linebacker to be there.
And he was, and he broke up the play, and it comes down to this for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, a three-man rush shown by the Rams. Greasy has to convert, and does, to the rookie Clayton. And Clayton is out of bounds at the 33-yard line. 7 catches for 117 yards for their #1 choice out of LSU.
You're right, and they catch him in this cover 2 again. And again, you see the corner bump up there. Then there's a hole right here between the corner and the safety. The safety doesn't get over, and that's the hole that they've been working on all night to Michael Clayton.
25 yards for Clayton there. He's caught 8 passes for 142 yards. Now a 4-man rush, 7 back. Greasy to the outside, incomplete, off the hands of Tim Brown. 2nd down.
I don't think that one really hurt him, because if Tim Brown catches that ball, he would have been tackled and they would have had to go through that spike drill again. I think they're better getting the ball up the field and getting the ball to Michael Clayton.
Right, you don't need the underneath stuff in the middle at this point. Get it to the sideline or get it to the end zone. 2nd down and 10, 36-yard line. Blitz picked up, and that enables Greasy to throw to the free man Brown, and Brown goes down at the 15-yard line and loses the football. No whistle. Tim Brown had a 1st down. The Bucs are saying he was down at the 15. The officials are conferring. They say the Rams have the ball, and again, this can be reviewed upstairs, which I'm sure they'll take a look at as we are right now. Is he down? Is the ball coming out before he's down? There's the knee. The ball is starting to come up. Aeneas Williams was the guy who was tackling him, and they'll take a look at this upstairs. The question is, does the knee go down before he begins to lose possession of the football? It's starting to come out as the knee hits.
We'll review the result of the last play.
Boy, that's going to be a tight review, because there's the knee hitting now, and the ball isn't out yet, but it's starting to come out as the knee hits.
Definitely starting to come out. It's almost simultaneous. Very well, on that angle, it looks like the ball is coming out before he's down. On that angle, it's very close. There's your knee.
There.
Clearly the ball is beginning to come loose, but that other angle we just showed appears to be a little bit more definitive. Well, here's the knee.
Review whether the player was down by contact or it's a fumble.
Yeah, we understand that. That's,
you know, I go back to, you know, I just wish they'd call those things fumble. I mean, and, you know, when our forefathers started this game, a fumble was a fumble, and now every time there's a fumble, we have to go and look for excuses why it's not a fumble. That's a fumble. Now they can go with the knee, the ball, the, you know.
Well, one thing that the officials have done through the years, and remember this whole replay process, not the way we know it now, but replay began in 1986, was they've told the officials, and they hesitate in terms of blowing the whistle, because in the early years there were so many whistles that were being blown, and then you take a look at the replay and the wrong call had been made.
Right,
so,
and if they call down by contact, then that's not reviewable. By calling it a fumble, then that is reviewable.
You keep the option open by not blowing the whistle on the close play, which is what they do right here. I mean, how could you see that with the naked eye if you're an official? whether you should blow the whistle or not. So on a close play like that, they don't blow the whistle, enabling the guys upstairs inside 2 minutes, or the coaches outside 2 minutes to challenge it.
Right, and now the referee has to go and look at it, and he has to decide, okay, was that a fumble or not? The guys upstairs can tell him, okay, you just come and look at it, and now he has to go and look at it, watch these pictures, and make the decision. For what it's worth, if you can't sit on the fence, if you have to go one way or the other, I say it's a fumble.
Ball appears to be coming out, as you see, before the knee is going down.
And it was called a fumble on the field, so you would have to see something that would say that it wasn't a fumble. It has to be declarative.
Two guys probably going to the Hall of Fame involved in this play, too, Tim Brown and Aeneas Williams. Here's the judgment.
After reviewing the play, the ball was out before the knee hit the ground. Therefore, the ruling on the field stands. First down, St. Louis.
And Tampa Bay done in by the turnovers tonight. 4 of them. 3 fumbles and 1 pick.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay is a well-coached team. They played very hard, and they just can't overcome those types of turnovers. Brian Grease did an excellent job of leading the team to get him in this position. And if Tim Brown doesn't fumble, you wonder what would have happened.
We'll never know. The Rams will run out the clock. Archuleta with that tackle creates the fumble, avoids the contact, and rumbles 93 yards on the game-turning play. And in this play with Brown, he would have been down at the 15-yard line.
That's what the Rams were talking about. We don't have a lot of turnovers, and the one thing our defense has to do is create more turnovers. They did it tonight.
Bulger 18-30 for 264. Autotrader.com postgame show comes up next. One thing for Tampa Bay tonight, a star was born. This kid Clayton's pretty good.
He is really good.
He's really.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers give the St. Louis Rams a run, but in the end come up 1 touchdown short. SportsCenter's coming up next for our Latin American audience. For our entire ESPN crew, so long for now. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. The final score from St. Louis, the Rams win it 28-21.
أجمل اللحظات الرياضية خلال نوفمبر على أوربت. الدوري السعودي له جاذبية قوية بين جميع عشاق كرة القدم. دوري كرة القدم الأمريكية يزداد منافسة مباراة بعد أخرى. حماس الدوري الهولندي لا يعرف الراحة. أفضل 8 لاعبي تنس يلتقون في الدور النهائي لبطولة الماسترز في هيوستن. الدوري الفرنسي يتجلى في أروع صوره. منتخبات أمريكا الجنوبية تتابع سعيها وراء حجز بطاقتها إلى كأس العالم 2006. نوفمبر على أوربت، عالم من الرياضة.
حسين عن ناصية.
لا دول بيهرجوا. ايه التهريج ده؟ انا هقول لك في ايه؟ فحد يقول لي.
كماء ضاحكة معكسة ونقارة.
عينيكي عايزه ضرب الجزمه.
انت فين يا سياحس؟
مش مقتنع يا استاذ. حاسب وانت ماشي على الناصية.
حسين عن ناصية يوميا في 3:30 بعد الظهر بتوقيت غرينتش على قناة اليوم.
بشرى سارة لمشتركي أوربت. وأخيراً أوربت سات نت على القمر الصناعي جابت لك الحل لمشاكل الإنترنت. مثلاً شوفوا ماجد زهقان ينتظر الدايل أب، لكن أحمد يدخل على الإنترنت بدون دايل أب. توه ماجد دخل على الإنترنت والحين ينتظر الموقع يفتح. بس أحمد يبحث عن ملفات ومعلومات ويسمع موسيقى عقب ما نزلها بثواني. يا سلام، الإنترنت عنده أسرع من العادي ب10 ب20 إلى 50 مرة حسب رغبتك. في اللحظة اللي ماجد دخل الموقع أخوه رفع سماعة الهاتف وخط الإنترنت انقطع. بس أحمد أخوه على التليفون، وأحمد الحين يتصفح الإنترنت لأنه ما يحتاج خط تليفون. مسكين ماجد الحين استلم فاتورة الهاتف ثقيلة، بس أحمد مستانس لأنه ما يدفع فاتورة الهاتف والإنترنت حقه شغال 24 ساعة. ماجد خلاص ما يقدر يتحمل، لكن أحمد عنده الحل. للمزيد من المعلومات اتصلوا بوكيل أوربت المحلي أو زوروا موقعنا orbitsatnet.com.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Gets up, scampers over the goal line to score on the year.
We're gonna be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party. Rush the quarterback.
Today on NFL's Greatest Moments, it's the agony of defeat, a look at losing in professional football.
ESPN joins the fans of the most beautiful game in the world. In Europe, skill, tactic, and precision. In the United States, force, courage, and speed. In Brazil, magic, passion, and talent. In the Netherlands, touch, power, and excitement. And if that's not enough, the World Cup qualifying matches crowns the trip around the 5 continents. Football around the world on ESPN, the world's greatest fan. We take you to Denver, Colorado for the opening weekend of NFL American football, where the Denver Broncos won in impressive fashion. Quentin Griffin led the attack, running for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Jake Plummer threw for 3 scores of his own as the Broncos defeated the Kansas City Chiefs. ESPN celebrates the Denver Broncos, our athletes of the week. This week on ESPN, the tops of the PGA Tour do battle on Thursday in round 1 of the 84 Lumber Classic. And Friday, more action athletes going for gold in day 3 of X Games 10. Then later, get on your best poker face for the 2004 World Series of Poker. And on Saturday, fulfill your need for speed with a whole day of ESPN Motorsports. Sports all day, every day on ESPN this week.
Welcome back to Losing on NFL's Greatest Moments. Losing, not exactly most people's favorite subject. And we got to wondering why. I mean, everybody already knows how the Jets felt after Super Bowl III, but how did the Colts deal with that loss? So we decided to do a show from the loser's point of view. And to kick things off, we'll break down the play that broke the Bills' hearts in the 1999 playoffs. The Music City Miracle was one of the most dramatic finishes in playoff history. But for Tim Russert of Meet the Press, and also a native of Buffalo, and former Vice President Al Gore, a diehard Titans fan, that game proved that a happy ending is really a matter of perspective.
Do the Titans have a miracle left in them? If they do, they need it now.
In the 1999 playoffs, the Tennessee Titans unveiled what has become known as the Music City Miracle, the greatest play in franchise history.
He throws it across the field to Dyson. He's got something. He's got something. 50. He's got it. He's got it. 20. 10. He's got it. End zone. Touchdown. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle. A miracle for the Titans.
For the hard luck Bills, it was just the latest chapter in a misery-filled postseason history that reads like a Stephen King novel.
No words to describe it. It's such a hollow, hollow feeling to it. But it's one, again, just like Super Bowl, it's like anything where it's disappointments. If you're made of any stock, you better get right back up and come back swinging.
Which the Bills have consistently done, with no game more representative of their resiliency than the '92 playoff showdown against the same Titan franchise, formerly the Oilers. Down 35-3, it was ironically Buffalo's special teams that helped trigger the biggest comeback in NFL history.
One of the biggest plays in that game was an onside kick that we had used at a time where if we don't get the kick, I'm not sure we'd have got ourselves in position to make the comeback. And well, it's kind of funny, you know, the Lord takes and the Lord takes away.
Bills can win it here. Wright puts it down. The kick is on the way, and it is good. And the Bills have won it. The Bills have won it. What a comeback by the Bills.
Buffalo continued on to the Super Bowl, while the Oiler franchise was haunted by the specter of this loss for 8 years. But no more.
Man, that's better than the '92 game. 35-3, forget it.
The Titans no longer hear the moans of past playoff ghosts, and Kevin Dyson's sprint joins the immaculate reception as one of the most astonishing finishes in football history. But another gridiron moment, one from the college ranks, might also lay claim to football's most fantastic finish. It is known simply as the play.
Rodgers along the sideline, another one. They're still in deep trouble at midfield. They tried to do a couple of... The ball is still loose as they get it to Rodgers. They give it back now to the 30. They're down to the 20. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. And the Bears have won. The Bears have won.
Sports writer Michael Silver, just a teenager at the time, was in the stands for Cal's crazy return and can attest to the impact of that moment.
The play changed my life because I was 17 years old, and after that I said, nothing's impossible.
Or improbable, as Silver, who was on hand in 1982 to storm the field in Berkeley, amazingly found himself right in the heart of the celebration again in Tennessee, affording him another up-close perspective on a miraculous kickoff return.
The Titans play, because they had practiced it, was, to me, a testament to Jeff Fisher.
As part of our special teams package, we over the years had unsuccessfully practiced the old Stanford Cal play. And our special teams coach came to me and said, I have something that may have a little more method to the madness. And so we installed it in training camp, and we referred to it as home run throwback.
This was something that I'd seen several years ago in the SMU Texas Tech game. It's a one-shot deal where you try to get all the coverage going one way, and then you throw back across the field, and you have a wall of blockers set up to that side.
The ironic thing is that Alan Lowry, their special team coach, really doesn't have a reputation as being a fake coach. When you get a special play like that, it's even a little bit more of a surprise coming from a guy like that.
We practiced it once a week since training camp, every Saturday in our little walkthroughs before the game on Sunday. And just worked every time.
There's times in practice where we work on these little things, and I know some of you stand back there and you say, oh, geez, what are they doing that for? How many times have we gone through that? That was sweet now. That was the dangest thing I ever saw.
But it wasn't as easy as it appeared. Just seconds before the kickoff, the coaches were scrambling to find a P for their shell game of a play.
I looked for Derek Mason, our return man. He was out of the game with a concussion, so I had about 10 seconds to coach up Kevin Dyson on the play. And my last coaching point to Kevin was to make sure you stay 5 yards behind Frank Wycheck. So that's coaching in a nutshell for you.
Coach Fisher called me out. I'm thinking, I'm not on hands team. And he called me out. He said, we're going to do this play. I didn't hardly hear what the play was. And I'm on the field, and Isaac's explaining it to me as we're running on the field, and they're about to kick it off.
I want you both to be back there.
Dyson was a quick study, but the confusion didn't end with his on-field tutorial. Buffalo special teams coach Bruce DeHaven called for a pooch kick rather than the squib Tennessee was expecting.
Neion tries to be ready for him to run the double here over here on this side.
I thought that, with the high pooch there, that we'd be down there and they really wouldn't have a chance to do much of anything but to start lateraling the ball around, which is really kind of what we wanted them to do.
The pooch indeed had an effect, both in slowing down the play and catching the Titans out of position. Number 83 Isaac Byrd was Wycheck's primary target, but Byrd ran up to attempt to field the short kick, leaving Dyson, who was supposed to stay behind Byrd as a lateral option, as the only possible receiver. Protected by a wall of blockers, Dyson had nothing left to do but coast into history. A perfectly engineered play, but one question lingers. Was it legal?
When it first happened, you instantly thought, there's no way. There is absolutely no way that this is not a forward pass.
This is a forward pass. This is not a lateral. All that's missing is the band.
I saw him throw it forward. I thought it was a forward lateral, and I thought, well, this is why we voted for instant replay right here. And I was pretty confident because I was on the field, and you could see it on the field real easy.
Not so fast. When the footage is animated by a computer analysis system, it's clear that while the officials didn't have the ideal vantage points, they still made the correct call. The NFL rulebook defines a lateral as any pass that is not a forward pass, actually leaving the Titans with a little room to spare.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It was a lateral.
The impact of that call had two very different effects. In Buffalo, it led to the firing after 13 seasons on the Bills sidelines of special teams coach Bruce DeHaven.
When you're the special teams coach and when that happens to you, it's a tremendous sense of despair, you know, that this has happened on your watch.
You gotta be on the lookout for that stuff in that situation. The special teams did not get the job done there.
And I took responsibility for it after the ballgame. I said, I thought we'd done everything possible to put ourselves in a position to win, and it didn't happen. So, you know, that's my responsibility.
While DeHaven has since joined Steve Mariucci's staff in San Francisco, the Music City Miracle propelled the Titans to the Super Bowl, where Kevin Dyson had yet another opportunity to prove the old adage, it ain't over till it's over.
McNair drops, throws right side for Dyson. He dives for the end zone.
But that's another story for another day.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your reaction to the Music City Miracle. The Bills.
No. It's not a miracle. It was a crime. It was a fraud perpetrated on the streets of Nashville. Okay, I bet Al Gore chicken wings against Tennessee ribs. After the Bills had won the game, and we won the game, before the final kickoff, my brother-in-law called, and everybody's calling from Buffalo, and we're all celebrating. Then came the forward pass.
Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson. He's got something.
A professor from the University of Rochester has done a computer model using the internet, which Al Gore invented, and it shows clearly for anyone to see, incontrovertible, you can't, there's no one can question it, that it was a forward pass. But the refs, because they wanted to get out of there alive, decided to call it a lateral. You can't accept that.
And then when they ran that unbelievably beautiful lateral play, I knew that Tim was going to be just dying. The referee went over and went under the hood to look at the instant replay. Stayed under there for so long. Well, while he was doing that, I dialed Tim's home number. And I waited on the last digit.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It was a lateral.
The minute he put his arms up, I dialed that last digit. And about 3 seconds later, Russert came on and he said, "What?"
And the voice on the other line said,
"Wings."
I said, "What?"
I did it again. I waited and I said, "Wings."
I said, "Who is this?"
Third time, "Wings."
He said, "It's Al Gore. I like him medium."
He said, "Oh, no, not this way, not this way."
Click. Dropped the phone. So I moped around for a while, but I realized I'm a man of my word, so I went out and had some chicken wings made, and I wrote a note, "Dear Mr. Vice President, they say you won the game. I owe you some chicken wings. Here they are. I hope you enjoy watching Bill Bradley on Meet the Press for the next 3 Sundays."
Coming up on NFL's Greatest Moments, an inside look at how players and coaches deal with losing.
Second shot from about 200 yards.
Go hard. Get up.
Oh, very fortunate right there. How is that? Right where he wanted it.
Fastball, a chopper. Beltry goes up to get it. Throws to the plate in time to get him. So Hairston is cut down. young quarterback.
Johnson coughs up the football, scooped up by Donnie Abraham. It's a foot race, and Abraham will win it for the touchdown.
Look out, Griffin. Getting sail for the end zone. Griffin, third of the day from 47 yards out.
The classic teams, the classic moments, the classic rivalries. Join us as we relive the most historically renowned matches in the history of the game. The history of cricket continues with the classic matches. Wednesday on ESPN.
Welcome back to the NFL's greatest moments. And now, the part of football that nobody enjoys, losing.
Losing's terrible. A week of preparation, a week of optimism goes down the drain, and it takes a tough-minded person to respond to it. There's a lot of peaks and valleys, and how you respond to losing, to me, is more important than how you respond to winning.
I can't accept losing. It's hard to digest it. It's probably one of the worst feelings in the world, especially after you've prepared so hard.
Can't tolerate it. I used to listen to General Patton's speech. General Patton's speech would say, Americans don't tolerate losers. I mean, I listened to that speech when I was in high school. So you imagine that here's a man that's fighting for our country saying what he said, and now all of a sudden I'm gonna lose on the football field? No. It took a lot. I can't even say it, because that's how much it took away from me. I hate losing.
It's a much deeper felt frustration when you lose a football game than a lot of other sports.
Because the season's so short, each game counts. I wouldn't mind being an NBA basketball coach or a major league manager. You figure 162 games and 82 games, lose a couple, go have a hot dog and think about playing the next one. In our league, you may not have the money to buy a hot dog if you lose one of those 16.
You see your career collapsing. The fan sees it as a game lots of times, but to you it's really your whole vocation.
The sick feeling you have when you lose is something that, fortunately, I'll never have to go through again, but that night following the game is brutal when you've lost. And the next day, you still feel it. But then you have to get to work on the next team.
And our disappointment will be enormous for a day and a half. That's all it can last, a day and a half.
And if it's lasting past 48 hours, then you're probably going to lose the next week also.
And no matter what's said, we just better get over it. We better get over it very, very quickly.
And I've been around coaches and head coaches that might carry on to into Thursday of the week before they finally pull themselves out of it.
And then Monday, of course, you go through having to watch the film again.
And you know when it's going to happen. You're watching the film, and the only thing that you can really do is just either smile or put your head down.
The losing head coach bears the unenviable task of immediately articulating his feelings in the post-game press conference.
How did you feel about the game? Well, I thought we could come back and win it. I really did. And then, of course, once we got behind, well, then, of course, you have to deviate a little bit from your game plan, and this is what makes it extremely tough.
Imagine there are many whys. Many, why did you do that? Why did we do that? I don't know.
We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly-poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed.
You know, when you lose a game, you just continue to run back in your mind the plays in which you had opportunity to score. There could be plays in which the quarterback throw the ball too far past the guy. throw behind a guy. And for a quarterback, that's definitely devastating.
Joe, did you put Amos inside? Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. See, he hadn't played. God darn it.
Of course, when you lose, you say, oh, my God, all I had to do was this, this, and this.
Wait a minute.
Right now, we
got 10 seconds. There's not a hell of a lot we can do. I guess we can try to get up the field further.
And I still live with defeats that occurred 10, 12, 15 years ago when I think football.
You're the talk of the town. You're the talk of the country. And it affects you off the field.
I try to separate football and my personal life as much as I can, meaning I don't want to come home and kick the dog and be mean to my family if they're in town or be grumpy just because we lost.
But if I had a dog, I'd kick it a couple times. No, I wouldn't do that because the Humane Society would be all over my case.
One of the biggest things I got to kick out of is walking in 7-Eleven in the morning and washing and having every people go, hey, Coach, how you doing? Great job, you know what I mean? Now, you can also walk into 7-Eleven, everybody's kind of, there he is, he cost us a game, you know, they're stinking a joint up.
Sometimes my wife has plans with friends that came in or family, and they know it's all subject to winning and losing. And if we lose, we're going home. And I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to talk about it. I want to go home and get my mind off it the best I can.
It affects me, again, to the point where I won't sleep.
I eat more. Very honestly. So when we're undefeated, I'm going to be the sveltest looking coach in the National Football League.
And Bill Parcells, I think that you could tie a lot of Bill Parcells' health problems. You look at their losing streaks, and you look at the reports or his visits to the doctor, there was a connection there.
Yeah, it got worse as I got older. I think the satisfaction from the wins was a lot more short-lived, and the anxiety from the losing was a little bit greater. I don't know that I know how to deal with it. I really don't. I just, you should talk to somebody else about it, really.
Talk to the men afterwards, then.
I just said, you can't say anything. I mean, God, I tried to say something, but there's not much you can say. I mean, it's all there, and we lost it.
Coach Landry used to say it. He said, every game is a winning and a losing situation, but it's a teaching and a learning situation. He said the team that wins does the teaching, and the team that loses does the learning.
There are two teams that wanted to win very, very badly. And when that happens, only one can win. If we should ever meet again, we'll take them.
Next, Don Shula and the Baltimore Colts recall what it was like to lose Super Bowl III when NFL's greatest moments continues.
The beautiful game lives on ESPN with the Brazilian Championship. When the beauty of football is in your blood, Glory shows you the way. Dancing on the field, the unique style of Brazilian football. Quick, short passes, so fast if you blink, you lose. The beautiful game lives on when Corinthians battles Goiás. War, where pride is the only casualty and the winner takes it all. Be there to see it happen. Live Brazilian football, Sunday, only on ESPN.
ID?
Forgot my ID.
Can you do that again?
From Los Angeles, California, X Games 10, today, only on ESPN.
The classic teams, the classic moments, the classic rivalries. Join us as we relive the most historically renowned matches in the history of the game. The history of cricket continues with the classic matches. Wednesday on ESPN.
Welcome back to Losing on NFL's Greatest Moments. And now, a unique look at the Colts' loss in Super Bowl III.
It began with a famous boast.
I got news for you. We're going to win the game. I guarantee. Guarantee.
I would try to use that statement by Namath to keep us from being overconfident, to want us to be ready to play, to make sure that he didn't make the correct prediction.
It ended with the biggest upset in Super Bowl history, the details of which are still quite vivid in the minds of the vanquished.
The thing that happened is, although we dominated, we weren't putting points on the board. And we'd move the football, we'd run with it, we completed passes, but when we got down there, something would always happen.
There's the throw, and it is intercepted. The Jets intercept Randy Beverly.
Namath had the quick hand, and that's one of the things that Namath's famous for is his release. He saw the blitz coming, and he'd just pop it to the halfback or the fullback coming out of the backfield. They had a good game plan against us and took advantage of what we did.
The Jets inside the 10-yard line. A handoff to Snell. He may go, and he's in there. Snell scores. The Jets just broke 80 yards. The Jets ahead 7-0.
That's a game plan.
Okay, let's make him change.
Okay, fine.
There's a handoff to Matty. Matty back to Morrow on the flea flicker. Jimmy Orr's wide open in the